Welcome back to another episode of the Coastal Feuds Podcast. After a long awaited break, we are finally back. Arjun and I, we're going to get the gang back together in the next coming weeks, but we are so excited to have you guys joining us back once again after that extended break. And without further ado, let's just jump right in. Let's talk a lot football. Let's start with the NFL this season. A lot of good starts, a little bit of weirdness, but I mean, some teams have been looking really good to start season.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. First off, welcome back. Good to see you, Brandon. After a little bit of a summer hiatus, one may say. We're back and we're gonna get this thing rolling again. So may I go first?
Absolutely.
All right, fabulous. First off, football's back, obviously. You know, it's fall time, fall time's approaching, everybody's all giddy and all happy. And like Brandon said, there's the hottest teams, and mine is the Los Angeles Chargers. In year two for Jim Harbaugh, it seems in this early part of the season that he's completely changed the culture. You know what I mean? And it feels like Justin Herbert, there's always been talks about Justin Herbert taking that next step and potentially being an overvalued guy. And maybe being like, if this year doesn't work out for him, maybe it's time to move on because think about it. 2020, it's 2025. You're looking at an extension, um, possibly turn into a rebuild. Maybe shipping Justin Herbert off, cutting him, trading him, wherever you want to do. But in the early part of the season, it looks like Justin Herbert and the Chargers and the Charger offense has definitely found their stride. And in my eyes, the key contributor to that is Quentin Johnson. You know, everybody makes all those jokes all the time about him dropping the balls and dropping the ball. But you know, it seems like he can hold on to him for sure right now. I mean, looking at his stats in the last game, oh sorry, not the last game. But last game against the Raiders, he had what, 70 yards? It's a pretty good game for a wide receiver going up against a division rival, especially in a game where it Geno Smith essentially sold the game for the Raiders, but the Chargers looked dominant on all ends. I mean, Justin Herbert threw a 60-yard bomb early in the game. You know, they were making plays that made them look like a legitimate offense and one that shouldn't worry about going 9-8 or 8-9 every single year. And I mean, if they keep this up, you're looking at a late January run, potentially even into February.
I mean, when you think of hot teams right now, you're going to think of, like you said, the Chargers, you're going to think the Packers, but a team I want to put the highlight on are the Indianapolis Colts and Danny Dimes. Indiana Jones right now, the new nickname for Danny Dimes. I mean, he's been playing like an absolute freak lately, leading. I think I saw a stat where only Lamar Jackson has more fantasy points than Daniel Jones, or Daniel Jones is like leading in fantasy points. So he's been having a stupendous start of the year, and it's just shown the true, I guess, talent of a quarterback when you actually have an offensive line. We've seen it when maybe quarterbacks that are quote unquote busts finally go to a better, higher functioning offense. We saw Sam Darnold with the Vikings last year. We've seen Baker revive his career with the Buccaneers. And now we're seeing a lot of the same with Daniel Jones right now in Indianapolis because he has something that he didn't have with the Giants, a consistent and very good offensive line. You've had one of the best guards in all of football, Quentin Johnston. Not Johnson,
Nelson.
Quentin Nelson. Quentin Nelson.
Yeah.
Yeah, you talked about Quentin Johnson really got me a little bit confused. Then you've got one of the best and most underrated running backs in all of football, Jonathan Taylor, who put 165 on the Broncos. Danny Dimes went 26 to 34 for 300 plus yards and a touchdown, playing really well. And it just shows that if a quarterback's success is really going to dictate on the offense that they're in. And if you're a good quarterback, you may not just be able to show that in a desolate offense like how the Giants have been in the past couple seasons. And I think, Arjun, you can agree with that notion.
Of course. I mean, yeah, you hit on that completely. I mean, like I was talking about this with a buddy in one of my English classes today, but it seems like that New York is just a graveyard for quarterbacks, young aspiring quarterbacks. Hopefully that's not the same for Jackson Dart. Like you talked about Sam Darnold moving away. Now Daniel Jones. I mean, Geno Smith was in New York for a little bit. He kind of revitalized his career, even though he didn't have a great performance last night. I mean, you hit on all those points, but what I want to talk about is something that we talked about a little bit before we start recording is Tyler Warren and the Colston Loveland kind of debate that we were having. I mean, Tyler Warren is having a great start to the year. For all of you fantasy lovers, he's currently the fourth ranked tight end as a rookie. Colston Loveland is sniffing around 18. Um, and that's no knock to Colston Loveland, new offense, new head coach, figuring it out. Obviously, he's a rookie. Um, but Tyler Warren, man, he looked like an NFL tight end. He looked like a seasoned vet. And that's not just any Penn State bias, but I mean, turn on the tape, he looked very comfortable in that offense. And he looked like he was really, really just eased in, eased into the system. And he looked like he was ready to make big plays and big plays down the stretch of the season. So this is where the question comes in, is did the Bears make the right decision in picking up Loveland rather than Warren?
I think that you can't really dictate that decision right now heading into week 3 of the NFL. You also have to think of the context of both these guys' scenarios. You think about Tyler Warren, who's gone to the Indianapolis Colts. He's immediately their starting tight end. And when you think about the Colts receiving weapons, you think maybe Michael Pittman, and that's really about it. Maybe Josh Downs, but it's not going to be as volatile or dangerous as maybe the Bears offense with DJ Moore, Luther Burden, Rome Odunze, and you've already got competing with Cole Kmet for that tight end spot. So I think I would give Colson Loveland a little bit more time as compared to Tyler Warren, who's been able to really jump into that role because he can be a premier threat in that offense, as well as he doesn't really have to fight for playing time, while Colson Loveland does, and he's not going to be a premier target in that offense where Caleb Williams is going to look to spread that ball out. So I know it might be easy to say Tyler Warren is better than Colson Loveland, but I think you need to be patient a little bit longer to see if that notion will truly stand the test of time.
That's true. I honestly agree with that. That was very, very well said.
So something I want to talk about is my team, my NFL team, the Chiefs, starting 0-2, having a little bit of a rough stretch. Their first 0-2 start since 2014, losing to the Chargers and then to the Eagles. And the Chiefs having a rough start brings up another topic of discussion, the tush push,
Mhm.
and how many are saying that the Eagles won that game against the Chiefs purely based off of the tush push. And there's some evidence out there saying that the Eagles linemen are false starting on the tush push. So there was the whole debate on if it should be banned or not. Arjun, after these new discoveries about the Eagles offensive linemen maybe starting early and already giving even more of an advantage, do you think the tush push should be banned?
I mean, in an essence, there's obviously arguments for both sides, with everything in the football and in sports world in general. But when you look at the plain facts, obviously I'm a Cowboys fan, so this might be a little bit biased. Um, the Eagles' offensive linemen, their two guards, line up in the neutral, like
Yeah,
in the trenches. I'm blanking on what the word is.
they're like their heads are ahead of the ball.
Yeah, so that is illegal in all aspects of football. Even if you go down from the high school and the Pee Wee level all the way up to the NFL. That is completely illegal, but somehow, in some way, it has yet to be called in the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, if this play wasn't as effective, obviously people wouldn't care. But because it is the Philadelphia Eagles on such a great team, and the tush push is insanely effective because of how good that offensive line is, it brings up the question that maybe this is a rule that should be enforced. There's a lot of rules in the NFL that aren't enforced, and a lot more that are more so enforced than others. And I like to think that this is something that should start to get called out because there's no reason a quarterback like Jalen Hurts, even though they won the game, had 101 yards. Uh, Saquon Barkley had 22 carries for less than 88 yards, and they won the game based off of getting pushed in the tush for a first down and for touchdowns. I just don't see how that's right and how that's just indicative of the game.
Now, don't get me wrong. I love it when NFL teams are able to discover a new concept or something that able to give yourself an advantage offensively or defensively. But there has to come a point where you do have to take the rules into consideration. Now, I'm not against the tush push in general. I mean, seeing the Eagles despite it going up against my Chiefs. But seeing the Eagles have one of the biggest lines in the NFL, and they're able to have a quarterback that squats 500-600 pounds with another running back that squats even more than that, it's entertaining just seeing almost an overpowered play that you're able to get short yardage. But at the same time, it's you don't want to see another team cheat and have an unfair advantage. You'd rather see someone have a fair advantage and you just can't stop it. If that were the case, I would say, hey, the tush push doesn't have to be banned. But if they're consistently having offensive linemen line up in the neutral zone and jump off sides every single time, then that doesn't really make it an advantage. That just makes it almost cheating like. So I think I agree with you. I think it should be banned. Now, jumping back to the Chiefs, you've got Patrick Mahomes struggling a little bit. You've had receivers banged up, Xavier Worthy. You've had Rashid Rice, who's out in suspension. Just what's your thoughts of the Chiefs this season and how they're going to adjust things moving forward?
I mean, to me, the thing that sticks out with the Chiefs this season and the early parts of the season compared to other seasons is they don't really have a fallback option. In recent years, they've had some sort of fallback option. Whether in the early years it was Tyreek Hill, in recent years more of a Travis Kelce Pacheco option. But as of right now, Travis Kelce has definitely lost a couple of steps. Um, like you said, the wide receivers are dealing with some either injuries or off the field stuff, and the running backs. I mean, Pacheco, you like you're a Chiefs fan. You see Pacheco more than I do. I mean, do you think he's a really quality guy that you can think of? I
I
mean,
think like recently he's had a little bit of regression. I think that his broken leg that happened last year
yeah,
definitely slowed him down. I mean, Kareem Hunt was far more efficient than Isaiah Pacheco.
yeah.
I think it's just a mixture of a whole lot of things. You've got new linemen playing new positions. You got the rookie, I believe it's can't remember his name, but you got Kingsley Suamataia, who is the former left tackle, second round pick out of BYU last year, moving to the interior line. So that's going to be a tougher adjustment. You've still got Mr. False Start, forgetting his name once again. And just, I think it's just a new line adjusting. And years ago, the Chiefs offense was like, holy cow, how are you going to stop this? But now it's like, oh, it's kind of easy. And we'll probably talk about this later. We're also seeing that with the Miami offense, too able to get the ball out so fast. And then week one, the Colts just destroying the Dolphins and shutting Tua down so much. But, I think Isaiah Pacheco is having a little bit of regression, but who knows? We'll see. It's a long season.
I mean, yeah, and like you just explained it. Like there is no attractive option for the Chiefs, and Mahomes' magic can only get you so far. From Mahomes' magic can't put the magic anywhere, if that makes any sense. There's no output for his magic. His magic is just flailing in the air, flailing in the wind, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's the downfall for them. I mean, like you know this more than anything, and I feel like Chiefs fans that I know personally are reluctant to agree with this, but the Chiefs have been leaning heavily on their defense in the past couple of years. You can agree with that. Steve
Yes.
Spagnuolo,
Yes.
that's that has been winning them the games. If you break down film and you look at the stats, I mean, obviously Mahomes and Kelsey a couple of years ago were the juggernauts of the NFL as a duo. Um, but times are changing. Travis Kelsey's getting older. Mahomes inevitably is getting older. You're phasing in new wide receivers. You're phasing in new running backs, O linemen, all of these things. And it's kind of like is this going to work? But it's also only going to be week 3. So you also have that little bit of a grace period. If it's week 5 or week 6, maybe that's when you start to press the panic button.
So, if you'd like to, I think we could transition into college football, like what teams looking good, and just like the next slate of these couple games, and see how rankings have been shifting up, and
Yeah.
just lots of news coming out of college football.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the most obvious thing is USF as the hottest team in college football. I mean, can you also agree that they have the most
Well, they
impressive?
did fizzle out a little bit against Miami, but
Wait. I thought they were on bye this week. Oh
Well,
my days.
they lost against Miami, and I think they're unranked now.
Oh my days. I'm a casual. I could have sworn they won by this week. All right, never mind then. Then let me look at the new AP poll. You want to go first as I regather a new opinion?
Um, well, I think a team that might have a little bit of hiccups early on is Texas right now. I think that's been a big story as of recent. Arch Manning not seeming to perform to these insane expectations that were set for him. But I mean, I don't blame the situation. I think that people just overplayed the fact that he is the son of a Manning. Now, I'm not saying Arch Manning is a bad quarterback, but you just set everyone was setting so unrealistic expectations for him that he was going to come in his first Texas game, throw for 400 yards with like 4 or 5 touchdowns, but that wasn't the case. He struggled against Ohio State, and then he wasn't super fantastic against San Jose State. So now he's just kind of still adjusting to that format, getting booed in the first half after he threw 10 straight incompletions. I think it's just giving him some time. That's the biggest thing in football right now. It's so easy to press the panic or press the jubilee button because a team's doing so well or a player's doing so well, or vice versa on the other side. I think we just need to be patient with
Yeah.
Arch Manning. Let him really develop into Steve Sarkisian's offense. I mean, it's not like he's played a ton. The games he has played, he's been kind of just that guy who's going to come in, do a read option, maybe throw a little bit, give Quinn Ewers just a slight break, come in for a little juice. He hasn't been the starting and premier guy in this offense. So I would say that just let Texas figure things out and just let Arch Manning really come into himself. And then maybe he can be that quarterback everyone was expecting him to be.
I mean, yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, you talk about the games that he did start. I mean, ULM Monroe, are we serious, guys? That's not Ohio State. And I mean, I feel like a lot of people were putting the blame of the Texas game. Just a quick flashback on Arch Manning. He obviously didn't play his hottest, but I think that was more of a testament to Ohio State's defense than anything. I mean, you look at the job that Matt Patricia has done with that off Ohio State defense. He knows that Arch Manning is definitely a young, inexperienced quarterback. Did a lot of bluff blitzes, a lot of sending four when Arch thought he was sending six, and then that makes Arch kind of speed up his whole thought process and all of that. But for me, my my team that's hot right now is the Oregon Ducks and Dante Moore. I mean, arguably Oregon had the best quarterback room in the country last year with Dylan Gabriel and Dante Moore after he had an amazing freshman season at UCLA, and he stepped straight into this Dan Lanning system, and he's shown that he's one of the, if not arguably the best quarterback in college football right now, up there with John Mateer and them. But honestly, I think Oregon's defense is stout. They went up against Northwestern this week, held Preston Stone to 0 passing touchdowns and 2 picks. They have Aiden Childs up on the schedule this week, and then looking ahead, they play my Nittany Lions at a whiteout um, on the 27th, and I feel like that game is going to be super, super telling about both of the programs in the Big Ten as a whole, because whoever wins that game is going to go to the Big Ten championship if everything goes to plan. That's the way it will play out, unless USC turns into a juggernaut. But that I feel like this is one of the most pivotal games in the season because that'll either confirm you as a bye team or on the road team for the college football playoff.
I've got I've got a couple teams that I've been keeping my eye on. First of all, biggest story of last week was Georgia Tech upsetting Clemson, storming the field. Now they're ranked 18th on the AP poll. We saw a similar situation last year. They beat Florida State. They shoot up into the rankings, and then they just taper off slightly. I think this is going to be a big week for them. I can't remember exactly who they play. I'm sure you could look, Arjun, but nevertheless, these are going to be defining weeks for Georgia Tech, not just to prove that they're just going to be somebody that's good at making upsets, but someone who's good at making upsets regularly and consistently winning, and not just making one big upset and then going 500 on the season. And the other team that's been looking really good has been Oklahoma, and more specifically their transfer quarterback. I believe it's John Mateer.
Yes, yes, it
He
is.
came from Washington State in a new system that really fits him well, and it's truly been showing. He's one of the Heisman Watch candidates. He's got some of the highest odds to win it. He's been carrying this OU team. They've looked extremely good, ranked 11th in the AP poll, and I think I can see them continue to ascend, and maybe Oklahoma football just might be back to their prime with Baker, Kyler, and Jalen Hurts.
I mean, yeah, this is exactly what Brent Venables needed. I mean, you know just as well as I did that every year there's a handful of coaches that are on the hot seat for these blue blood programs in college football. And Brent Venables, in almost every single website, ESPN, Fox, CBS, even Bleacher Report, he was near the top of every single one of those lists just because of his lack of production in the recent years of Oklahoma football. He took over for Lincoln Riley back in 2021, 2022, and it's been nothing short of a little bit of disappointment. His only saving grace was really his recruiting trail, and he beat Texas one time in the Red River rivalry. I mean, those are stats if you're an Oklahoma head coach that you got to get up. I mean, you can't be going, what did they go one year? They went 6-6, if I'm correct. They went 6-6 in the SEC. And that was last year, I'm pretty sure.
Well, if they went 6-6,
Oh,
that
wait,
means
hold
every
on.
game they played was the SEC.
Oh, wait, hold on. Wait. Hold on. Let me double check that.
They might have gone 6-6 as a total record, maybe not in the
Yeah.
SEC.
Yeah. I mean that this is when they like assimilated into the SEC. Not when they were in the Big 12.
Okay.
Yeah. But I digress. I completely agree. John Mateer is giving that program every sort of revitalization that it really needs. And I actually want to talk a little bit about Clemson. Like you kind of touched on it. Do you think oh, not Dabby. Do you think Dabo is out the door? Because there was a quote from him when he was talking to reporters after the game. And he said, if Clemson doesn't want to win anymore, I am happy with leaving. He said he's only 55 and he's happy to go to another program to go and win. So, with that being said, do you think Dabo will head out, or do you think he's going to stay in Clemson for a couple more years?
I think it's really going to dictate on how the rest of this season goes. And we've seen a lot of Clemson alumni even tweeting about this game that they've got no dogs, they've got no fight, they've got no heart that we've seen past Clemson teams have. And that's led them to have a lot of success, especially in the college football playoff when them and Alabama were both the powerhouses. So I think it's the NIL has changed a lot of things in college football, and I think passion has definitely decreased significantly ever since then because
Yeah.
more players are chasing paychecks and they're just, oh, I'm just trying to get to the league.
Hmm.
They just think of college as more of a pit stop instead of, wow, this is actually an experience I want to live. Some, they just want to say, okay, college isn't, I'm not going to play college just to like have all these records. I'm going to play college football so I can have tape for the NFL.
Yeah.
Well, in some respect, that is a nice mindset to have. That can't be your only one. You can't chase a bag and then try and chase a win at the same time.
Hmm.
It's something that will come with it.
Mhm.
Like if you win, you're going to have a spotlight put on you. And when there's a spotlight put on you, you're going to have players that are going to come into that spotlight. So what players in this Clemson program need to realize is that if you chase the we, eventually you're going to get a spotlight on me. Because if you guys have success, we've seen this in the past. I mean, I'm sure there's teams in Alabama, like when they would have all these insane, great NFL players, that if they were on another program, they may have not gotten that same spotlight, even though they would have similar talents. It's all because the winning teams get their best players really that spotlight that I keep on mentioning. And that's because if Clemson is just worried about themselves, they're not going to win as a program. And that's something that Dabo Sweeney is now starting to feel, that Nick Saban was feeling as soon as NIL came into the picture, and that's a big reason why Saban retired, and it's pretty much the reason.
Mm-hmm.
And if Clemson doesn't make a change, I think it could become Dabo's undoing, and then he could, like you said, leave for another program.
I mean, yeah, I mean, this is, I mean, this is crazy timing because this is a perfect testament to what's happening out in LA with UCLA. I mean, Charlie's team, Nico Iamaleava, they're 0-3. They've lost to Utah, New Mexico State, and they recently also lost to UNLV. 0-3 in a Big Ten, and they just fired their head coach this week, Deshaun Foster, which means that all players on UCLA, because it's isn't week 4 yet, which means they are still eligible to transfer in redshirt. This brings up the question: did Nico Iamaleava, I mean, obviously it's a pretty obvious question, make the wrong decision, chasing the bag instead of sticking with the Tennessee team that was college football playoff and national championship contenders?
I think,
Because,
yeah,
my fault. Because
no,
currently
please.
Tennessee is on top of the world. I mean, not on top of the world. They just lost to Georgia, but they're in a much better situation with Joey Aguilar. Joey Aguilar, did I say that right?
I think so, yeah.
Joey Aguilar than Nico is when they switch places. I mean, you think about the bag that Nico chased, and it was the same that he was getting at Tennessee, but his moral, in my mind, at least, is that what I hypothesize happened was that Nico brought that culture into that UCLA locker room, and it was a poison. And then Deshaun Foster wasn't able to bring his guys back together. And after that loss to New Mexico State, the people upstairs basically were like, "Oh my God, we screwed up," and they just had to clean house. And my prediction is that Nico won't be a Bruin at the end of the season.
I think Nico Imaliava and his story is going to be the epitome and a staple about what is wrong with NIL in college football. Turning down, wanting like $2 million in NIL, then he goes to UCLA for like over half of what he was actually asking for. I think that just shows that number one, that hurts his college stock because he went to a lesser team in UCLA compared to Tennessee. Secondly, that's going to hit his draft stock too.
Mhm.
Because if you're in college and you're already demanding certain amounts of money, who's to say you won't do the same in the NFL? I mean,
No.
we used to have the days where rookies will get drafted and they're crying their eyes out because they made it to the league, because they fulfilled their dreams. They're able to do everything that they wanted to for their family and for others. But now people are getting to the league. We almost saw this with Shamar Stewart, that he was in a contract dispute going all the way through the preseason from the draft. He almost
Mhm.
went back to Texas A&M, which would have been the first time in NFL history. It's just we don't have guys in college anymore that are doing things for the love of the game. They're doing it for the bag. Because if there wasn't NIL, there's no way on earth that Nico would transfer to UCLA while he was at Tennessee. They just went to the college football playoff. They lost to Ohio State and had a chance to rebuild. And they've been doing it again with a new quarterback this year. And that's just been a terrible thing with the transfer portal and NIL is that when money becomes the focus, winning and everything else, culture, everything goes out the back door, and money becomes the full focus, and that doesn't have any good benefits.
Exactly. There's zero motivation. I mean, it's a testament to people's character. I mean, I saw a stat, and it was it was pretty nuts. And obviously, Quinn Ewers was drafted in the seventh round by the Dolphins. And if he returned for an extra season at Texas, he would be making triple his NFL contract. Triple. Like it feels like there's just a lack of motivation for these guys anymore. It seems like there's no more of a I gotta do this in order to help my team win, in order for me to be recognized. Like you touched on this. It's the team as in we, and then that'll shine the spotlight on me. I mean, you perfectly prefaced this. And it kind of brings up the point that there is no longer a fully winning culture. There will always be one or two guys in every college football locker room that you know how much money they're making. And because of that, their motivation will lessen. They'll give you less effort on the field because think about it. Why would I risk? or why would I put in so much hours on the field or in the weight room when I have $1.7 million sitting in my bank account? Like it's a testament of logic, and it's a testament of just the way college football is heading. And like even to put it into perspective, if you were to tell someone 5 years ago, Joe Burrow transferred from LSU, who just, let's say they don't win the championship. Let's say they lose in the college football playoff to Oklahoma. Say he transfers to the University of Washington. People would say you're crazy. People would say you're crazy. For $1 million, people would think you're actually insane. But 5 years later, look at how far this sport has come. It's less about college, and these guys are professional athletes, and they're getting paid a salary. That's what that is. And it's detrimental to the sport. And unless there's some sort of rules and regulations about it, this could be the downfall of college football.
And that's going to wrap up another episode of the Coastal Feuds Podcast. Once again, I am your host, Braden Plort. Alongside me is my co-star, Arjun Parani. We're so excited to get another episode underway. We're going to get more consistent. We're going to get more episode released in the next coming weeks. So in the meantime, please continue to tune in, and we'll see you guys next time.